Our next speaker is Dr. Emily Bugo. She joined the AISHA Multi-Organ Transplant Institute in August of 2014. She's interested in studying surgical practices and outcome, the trends in organ donation, as well as strategies to maximize organ utilization. She also serves on the LOPA Advisory Board, and she is also been a guest on our Gifted podcast. Dr. Beauregard, thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here and love to be a part of this whole process and working with LOPA and understanding the needs of transplantation and organ donation. And I also want to say thank you to Dr. Williams, because she gave a great talk just now about some of the really important things that lead to end organ damage and the need for transplant. Things like hypertension, diabetes, lupus, all of that are really kind of driving factors in end-stage kidney disease, heart disease, vascular disease. Really affects the whole body. And I think one of the things that she touched upon and that is, I think, important in our discussion is that we know those are all the driving factors or the key contributors to end-stage organ disease and the need for transplant. And they all, for various reasons, and we can talk a lot about this, tend to affect minority communities, African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, with much higher rates. And so as a consequence of that, there are a lot more African Americans, Asians and Hispanics that are in need of transplant. Kidney transplants, heart transplants, liver transplants. It's a disproportionate representation and a disproportionate need. And there's a lot of different things that go into that. There's genetics, and there's certainly environment and social factors that contribute to that. I think the other important point to talk about is that when we talk about trying to match up, obviously we don't have enough organs for everybody that's in need. And how do we match up who gets the next organ? A big part of that is that it gets matched by blood type. And when we look at the different blood types, again, across different ethnic groups, it's very different. And so if you look as a whole, one of the more rare blood types is a blood type B. And when we drill down into different communities, different populations, different ethnicities, we see that there's probably about twice as many African Americans with blood type B as there are Caucasians. And so what does that mean? It means that there's a lot more people of African American descent that are being listed that could potentially have a very rare, a much more rare blood type. And then when we look at the amount of donors out there that are have healthy organs to donate, there's a lower proportion of those ethnicities that are eligible to donate. And so not only do we have a discrepancy in who's coming to the healthcare system with end-stage organ disease, there's a discrepancy in the different, the demographics of donors that we see that have organs that are usable for transplant. And so it's a cascade that multiplies. And I think there's a lot of issues that contribute to all of that. And I think it's, like I said, it's genetics, it's environment, it's social factors. And I think one of the most important things that Dr. Williams touched upon is that things like diabetes and hypertension, which are the leading causes of all these end organ diseases, can be very treatable, if not preventable, with good access to care, with education and access to care. Maybe we wouldn't see the same degree of discrepancies that we see right now. You know, when we think about how we can combat some of these discrepancies that we see, or this disproportionality or inequities, I think is a good term. A lot of that comes down to education and being out there, and the more people know about how lifestyle modifications can prevent a lot of these complications and diseases, and how good access to care, to being able to prevent a lot of the secondary complications from diseases like hypertension, diabetes, lupus, all of that, I think is critically important. And that, you know, I love to do transplant, but if I had fewer people that needed transplants, that would be great. And so if we can really be out there and talking about healthcare, self-care, health maintenance, community support, social supports, access to the system, I think that's a huge benefit to everyone, and minority communities in particular. And, you know, we know that there's always going to be a need for transplant. People are going to be sick, and we're not going to be able to fix everyone. And if we can, you know, have a healthier population in general, where more people are eligible to donate, knowledgeable about donation, and willing to donate, I think that that's another big step forward. So really, I think it comes down to having these discussions, being honest, being open, educating each other. That is going to help with some of these obstacles and barriers.
One of the questions that I had earlier, are we going to talk about the waiting list and why African Americans wait longer?
Yeah.
And if you have any input on that.
And I think some of that comes down to the issue that I brought up about differences in blood type. So if the African American community has a higher number of people with a more rare blood type, then it's going to take longer for them to get transplanted, because there are fewer donors of that blood type as well. And if adding to that, if there are fewer healthy donors of that blood type, then that really, like I said, it multiplies, and it ends up being that our African American patients wait considerably longer. One of the best ways of around having to wait on the wait list and really getting the highest quality organs that you can, that last the longest, have the best overall function, is having a living donor, and particularly talking about kidneys. And the number of, it's not part of our job as transplanters, surgeons, and the medical team alike, is when we have someone that really wants to donate, we have to put on a different hat and say, we're here to be the donor's advocate now. And, is donating safe? Is it going to be safe in the short term? Are they going to have any issues getting through an operation? And is it going to be safe in the long term? Are we putting someone at increased risk for themselves having long-term medical complications or even end-stage organ damage. And I think the number of people that come to us wanting to donate that we have to turn down for all of those reasons is significantly higher in the African American population. And so not only are there barriers and inequities waiting on the wait list for a deceased donor kidney, but there are often fewer opportunities, even when everybody really wants to help, as far as living donation goes.
We have Mr. Jarvis DEBERRY and his cousin AISHA here. He received his transplant this year. So Jarvis, how are you? I think he's still on mute.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking me. I was actually going to defer to AISHA first, and this is Minority Donor Month, not Recipient Month, and I thought maybe she should talk first about her decision to donate and how she's doing, and then I could follow up.
Thank you, Jarvis. Hi, everyone. Again, my name's AISHA DEBERRY, and just like in Jarvis fashion, he's thinking of others. But I am Jarvis's first cousin, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And for those that may not know the story, I actually went behind Jarvis's back and inquired and did blood work to see if I would be a match without him knowing. I know that he needed a kidney, but he remained quiet about it and probably just didn't really want a lot of people to know. So I just went upon myself and found out how I could possibly be a match. And I ended up finding out that I was a match and let him know, I think around July of last year. And he had no clue that that was happening, but I had done my research in terms of what the, I guess, bad parts of it was, and there really weren't any in my mind. I knew that I was pretty much healthy. I try to remain healthy, and I knew that I didn't need both of my kidneys to live. And so, like I said, I just kind of did my own exploration beforehand and went down to, once we figured out and went through a lot of testing, came down to AISHA, and in February of this year, I was able to donate a kidney to him, and I'm doing well. I stayed in AISHA, I stayed in New Orleans for about 2.5 weeks, and then I have now come back to Atlanta, and things are truly, I can truly say, normal for me. I feel well. There are some days where I feel tired, and I think that's to be expected. I've just had some of my testing done at almost the 6-month mark, and things have checked out well. And the way that I have looked at it, instead of, not being able to have ibuprofen now or having to drink more water, or all things I needed to be doing anyway, right? So it has really helped me stay more focused on my health, and to know that I've been able to extend the life to a cousin that I feel like is a brother to me is just priceless. So I'll pass it back to you, Jarvis.
Thank you, AISHA. Jarvis, we have about 1 minute, so I know you can do it. Go.
That's not giving me much time. I'll just say that, this conversation has made me feel even more blessed than I was before. Just knowing, all of the complications that do prevent people from actually receiving a transplant. I was told it would be a 4 to 7 year wait if I had to, wait on a cadaverous kidney, and also just hearing all the other complications that arise from donors who want to donate but can't. It just makes me feel that much more blessed and grateful that, number one, AISHA was willing, and number two, that the process went as well as it went. I am probably the healthiest I've been in my adult life. I'm either walking or running almost 4 miles a morning, and trying to do all the things necessary to make sure that this kidney lasts as long as it could possibly last.
Thank you so much, Jarvis and AISHA. We're moving on now to our last speaker, last but not least. One of our very famous slogans is greater It's going to be greater later. Is Keenan Shields. He's a heart recipient. He's one of LOPA volunteers. Matter of fact, whenever he needs to help out, he's there. He's a member of the New Orleans Police Department. He's been around for over 40 years. Keenan suffered a heart attack after Katrina. It may be during Katrina. He'll clarify that for me. But we welcome Keenan Shields. Hello, Keenan.
I'm honored to be a part of this discussion this evening. And I'm grateful. And I do most of what I do simply out of love. And that love has been shown to me. And I intend to, as long as I live, spread that love. Being an organ recipient, especially a heart, because somebody has to give up their life for me to have life. So I honor my donor's family to begin with. And I'd like to talk about minority. When you talk about minority, and I'm going to just speak real for everyone.
Please do.
Because that's the only way I know how. I am so, again, honored and grateful to be a volunteer for LOPA. Learning all I have learned about this organization and what they do is wonderful. We speak about minorities, and these are all things I have experienced and heard from my own ears. Minorities, the lesser, and a whole lot of areas. The main thing is education and communication. I have heard so many stories that are unbelievable. People actually believe the myths about the organs being sold on the black market, that if they have that heart on their driver's license, the doctors are not going to do what it takes to save them. If there's a white doctor and they're black and they're in an accident or anything happened to them, they are positive that they will not do what is in the protocol as far as organ donation. So that is some of the main reasons why they do not sign up to become organ donors. This is real talk. This is everything I've experienced. For Essence, every year, I'm so grateful to be a part of that. And because, of course, it's mostly minorities that come through there. And we have an opportunity to do great work, and we speak with a whole lot of people. And I get all of these stories or these ideas of what takes place. So the major thing, and before I say that, I'm grateful and I'm glad to hear everything that the doctor said, because all of it is education, communication, because the minority groups, they're minorities. Place a priority when you're a minority. Is a priority for me to become an organ donor? Probably not, because I got a whole lot of other things going on in my life that I'm trying to get myself in a better situation. So when I'm holding these conversations about being an organ donor, and I can show the scars proudly and explain to them exactly what took place and how it works, it's not easy. But I tell you, we have to be relentless in educating, communicating to the minority population, because they are the most at risk. As doctors have given the legal jargon, which I don't know nothing about. Again, I'm just going real. When you have to be relentless with teaching this. And I know it can be tiresome, and sometimes you might want to give up. But I say the key to raising the registry with minorities so that we can be greater and successful in organ transplantation is education and communication. We got to go out there. We got to find them where they are, and we got to continue to give them all of the information, as the doctor stated, for prevention. As the doctor stated, even hereditary. So most people who are minorities, not only their health is generational or can be generational or hereditary, their life and their position in life also is that. And I just heard the young lady speaking. She did her due diligence when it came to her cousin. So it depends on what category you fall in, what opportunities you've had. So when you speak about minorities, most is in correlation with not having that opportunity. So we have to, I'm talking about organ donation. I'm explaining to them, I'm giving them everything that I've got, every opportunity that I get. My family, my friends, people that I don't even know. I'm showing scars because I'm proud of them. Not just scars from my my heart transplant. I had an aneurysm. I got recut from the rooter to the tooth, if y'all know what that is. I had to get that done. So I'm scarred up, but I'm proud of my scars, and I use my scars as a learning tool. And I explain to the people as I come in contact with every day, and I use that also as a minority. And I don't want to be too long-winded, but all this has to get in because I'm a police officer. I've been in law enforcement for almost 40 years. I'm a product of the Desire Housing Project. I'm a product of injustices when it comes to the police. So my thing was, I am going to become a police officer so that I can help my people, because I know that they need help, even when they don't know they need help. In transplantation and being an organ donor, for instance, they are dead set, and it's a great majority of them that I've come in contact with. They are dead set on all of these myths. So I am saying simply that we need to exhaust all means in educating the public on exactly the true facts about becoming an organ donor. Educate the public on preventive health disease. Heart disease is the #1 preventive disease that we can simply work on. And that was covered by the 2 doctors and everything that they said. So I don't know what else to say. I'm relentless with that as a volunteer, and I will ask for any help that I need at any given time. But the ladies know me. They call and I'm running. Church, school, the police department, wherever. And I'm going to tell it. And we're not going to get all. But if you stay relentless at trying to educate, but educating them and making the information available, getting out to the public, I believe that we can make a change. I believe that we can grow. We can grow this registry, and we can save more lives. I truly believe that. And ending that with saying truly, I believe that, because that is my signature, meaning that it will be greater later.
Yes. Keenan, thank you so much. I thank you for your enthusiasm. I thank you for being a volunteer. I thank you for being my brother. We always say it's going to be greater later.